Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 167, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan. It is Saturday morning, and I am here not watching cartoons because they don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore. So, yeah, I have to content myself. I have to entertain myself by talking to my best pal, Brian Hall.
Hey, well, hopefully it's a happy Saturday morning anyway. I could sing little bumpers to you.
Can you?
You know, like when we go to
messages.
break, we can be like, after these messages.
Hey, see that?
We'll be right back.
That's the one I was just doing. Wow. I feel like that, there was that window where Saturday morning cartoons existed, and that basically, I don't know, when did that era end? Let's say the late 90s?
Yeah. Well, I remember even when I was young enough for them, they were starting to be infiltrated by sort of those Saved by the Bell
by the
clones.
Saved by the Bells. That's what did it. That was Patient Zero.
Yes, and you know what though? But I liked it. It was, and maybe it was because I was the perfect age because I was like a little young teen. I was like, okay, this is like a nice little partnership with the other things that I'm watching. But then it's like, yeah, like I said, they got infiltrated and they had all these clones and knockoffs that I couldn't.
They had all the
get into.
clones. They had City Guys. Remember CITY?
City Guys. Yes, well, I remember California Dreams, right?
California Dreams. I remember that too.
See, I think I was on the edge of that one. Like, this is no Saved by the Bell, but I'll watch. I think City Guys is where I got lost.
There's another one. It was called Hang Time.
Yeah, I remember that title. What was that?
It was about, I don't know if you remember this. It's about it was about a basketball team, and then there's a girl who wants to play basketball. Not a girl.
I can just picture it.
That was
I
the
can
show.
see everything. I can see the actors. I can see the lighting. I can see the set. I can see all of it.
That was
Oh, and then what was the one with
thing that
Ahmad
existed.
Rashad? It was really about basketball.
Yeah, it was.
It was like ESPN for kids.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, wow, man.
Oh, something with Ahmad Rashad.
It
I
was.
don't remember.
I'm gonna Google that.
Yeah, now it's like in the thick of like the Bulls '90s. And growing up in Chicago, of course, like basketball. That was the most
Inside
I've ever
stuff.
been into.
NBA inside stuff.
Inside stuff. That's it. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Thank you.
Now then,
Thanks for the
moving on.
assist.
Yeah, nice. By the way, I have been playing the basketball game for a PlayStation. It's like NBA 2K18 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Have you seen this game?
No.
It is like watching the game on television.
Wow. I've seen like the football games. I know how insanely detailed they are. So this same, huh?
It's yeah. I mean, it's at such a high level of detail where it because I have my like a Nintendo emulator thing that has like all the Super Nintendo stuff on. You put one of those on in comparison, you're like, well, this is quaint.
Yeah, or even think. I mean, yeah, like Tecmo Bowl or something, which is still really fun, but it's like a bunch of cubes running around.
That's right.
And now, yeah, my brother, he plays one of those basketball games on PS4, and it actually goes into the players' lives, and you can choose what kind of attitude you want at the press conference afterward, and it informs your season. Like
my God.
How do you even program something like that? It's incredible.
It's the AI. The AI has taken over. It's amazing stuff. Anywho, see, this is like we have a higher degree of engagement when we're actually awake.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm starting to notice. I feel like our intros are becoming almost like Simpsons episodes, where we have like a 5-minute tangent that's kind of fun, but not related to anything we're about to do.
You mean we're not going to be talking about TNBC's Hang Time this episode? This is not the retrospective of California Dreams.
I would love that on April Fool's Day or something if we dropped a legit 2-hour retrospective of like that or City Guys or something.
Oh my God! Actually, what's just one last thought about those TNBC shows is what was really jarring was when original Saved by the Bell left, and then you got Saved by the Bell: The New Class, which was a clone of a show that had already been cloned like 15 times.
Wait, how so?
Well, like all those TNBC shows were like Saved by the Bell clones anyway.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, and here's another Saved by the Bell clone, but we're calling it Saved by the Bell. But it's
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah, I
don't
never
know
really got much into the new class. That was where Screech was like the principal's assistant or something.
Yeah, but he didn't come back initially. For like the first season, he wasn't there.
It's like more cowbell. It's not working. What do we need? We need more Screech.
What Screech? Yeah, the first season was very weird because it was like, here is the Zach, here is the Slater, here, like it was very
yes.
very cookie cutter. And then every season they changed the cast, and that show lasted a long time. It lasted like 7 seasons.
Holy cow! I did not know that.
I believe don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain it outlasted original Saved by the Bell.
I just recently saw this. I did not know this. Saved by the Bell was only 4 seasons, which does not feel right for as many different episodes as I remember. And maybe I guess I was going to say their ages. I remember them being really young and then being much older.
That first season, remember, was like, it wasn't even Saved by the Bell. It was Good Morning, Miss Bliss.
Right.
So is that included in the 4 seasons? Because that would be like a 5th season, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
And then you have the college years, which is like included in the syndication package.
Which I never really watched. Those were on primetime NBC, weren't they?
That was the hubris of thinking that a primetime right. I mean, when you look at that in hindsight, because if you watch the show, it has the exact same quality of writing and production as the Saturday morning show.
Right.
And it's like, no, adults have taste. They have a concept of quality. You can't just put Saturday morning crap on, and
Yeah. And that said, out here in L.A., they have a Saved by the Bell pop-up where you can go eat at the Max and, sit in Mr. Belding's principal's office and whatnot. And it's obviously, people who grew up with it, but that said, all adults. They're paying $40 to get in there. And
that's hilarious.
Yeah, have a milkshake.
You went there, right?
I did. It was totally fun. Gotta admit.
Pure nostalgia.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking of nostalgia, I know you watched a film that takes us back in time a bit.
Yeah, I saw the documentary Apollo 11, which is I don't know if it still is, but I saw it in an IMAX theater because they were touting that the first week it was going to be exclusively IMAX. Hopefully, it's still in IMAX because
I would imagine Captain Marvel kicked Apollo 11 to the curb.
Yep, you're right. And I was going to say, off the top, go see this movie. Like, go see it in a theater. If you have any interest at all in this movie, go see it in a theater because this, I don't know if it's going to make my top 10 of the year, but this will certainly be in my top 5 theater-going experiences of the year.
Really?
Without a doubt.
Wow.
So it's a look back at the Apollo 11 mission, with Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. And what's unique and special about it is it includes a bunch of footage that has never been seen before that was shot by some team using 70 millimeter. So, I mean, when the movie opens, it's striking for several reasons. One, it is shot very well, and it looks almost like a Kubrick film, honestly.
Amazing.
Just in its sort of, framing and sort of a lot of static shots, but artfully composed. So, I mean, it was thoughtfully shot. But what's the miracle of this movie is that because it was shot on such a high quality film stock, they've since cleaned it up with modern technology, and it looks pristine. So you're looking almost literally through a window into 1969. And during the film, I even thought, this is the closest it's ever going to be to going into a time machine.
Amazing.
And what's cool about it too is it's not narrated. Like, there isn't necessarily like a driving narrative to this. It's more of a tone poem to several hours before launch, and it starts with the rocket being what am I trying to say? Or like the launch apparatus being wheeled to the launch pad, and it's just on the IMAX screen with this incredible sound design that they've created for it. I mean, I felt like I was watching a Nolan film or something. Like, it was, And but then you just have to kind of, it's almost like you are visiting and someone is leading you through the events and no one's explaining it to you. You're just taking it in. And there was something about it that made it even more magical for it because you're absorbing it yourself. And then, you see the night before, and then it shows you, again, with no narration, all the people who showed up on their cars, and there's Krispy Kreme donut stands for all the observers and people with their cameras waiting to watch this. And, like, there's a woman, and she's sitting on top of her car, like, brushing her hair. And the detail is just incredible. And then she looks at the camera and smiles, and I was like, I don't even know if that woman's alive anymore. But I feel like
Wow.
that was shot yesterday.
Amazing.
And so then you follow the astronauts and they go into the ship and then it goes up, and then of course once you get into space they didn't have the benefit of these amazing cameras, so it becomes more about still photography and whatever cameras they had on board. But I mean, I don't want to. I am overselling it. No, I'm not overselling it, but I don't want to overhype it for people. But they actually managed to make the landing on the moon nail biting, which
amazing.
Happens. And is from the point of view of one camera, like embedded on the actual ship.
So here's my question. How would you do you view this as a supplement to First Man?
Oh, they work hand in hand beautifully.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't think they overlap in a way where I feel like I already knew all of this. Like, this is just this. I feel like this is just an amazing gift, like a historical document now that we have to view something like one of the greatest events in human history, and now we get to see it truly as if we are like the fourth passenger. I really love this, and I was even thinking if anyone wanted to go with me, I would have happily seen it again in the same week on the screen, because I don't know when you'd get to see something like this presented, I guess in all its glory, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like it
Wow.
was. But I still think on a regular screen, whatever, this is a really worthy theatrical going experience.
Well, I had planned to see it this past week, and I had reserved a ticket through my AMC A-list, and I was ready to go, and I just couldn't make it work. So like that ticket kind of went to waste. But still hoping this week. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and like I say, I mean, I hope anyone who can would go see it in a theater. But even if you can't, it's still just worth watching. And I think it's 90 minutes. So it takes you all the way back to them returning to Earth. And I felt like I had been on this ride, like it just like any of the best blockbusters you would watch. So
That is very cool.
yeah.
Oh, and you saw something else too.
Yeah, actually, I forgot. There was another movie I forgot to write down in the document, but I saw Cold War. Do you heard of this? The Polish movie?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I think it was nominated. Oh, you've seen it? Mm-hmm. Did we talk about it?
No.
I couldn't remember if you mentioned it. Yeah. This is a really interesting movie. I had heard a lot of great things about it, and it was nominated for Best Foreign Film, right?
Yes, it was.
The Oscars, yeah. So I had, kind of an interest in checking it out, and a friend of mine, it was one of his favorite movies of last year. So it's a really interesting movie. It's about this like doomed romance post World War II, and I think what was most interesting about the movie is the fact that it is. It's not like a really straightforward story. It's almost like a major event will happen in these two people's lives, and then it cuts to black, and then you fast forward a year, or you fast forward 2 years, or like they'll be in some sort of jam, and then you cut forward a year, and they're out of the jam, and they don't really tell you how they got out of the jam. And it's as I was watching it, I was thinking, is this annoying me, like or is this really clever? And by the end of the film, I thought, I wouldn't want any other movie to do this. Like, I wouldn't want to watch Titanic and be like, oh, they're on the sinking. Oh, they're off the sinking ship.
Yeah.
You want to see how it happens. But in this instance, I looked it up. It's like the filmmaker based this off his parents. And I thought, man, there's actually something. If this movie specifically choosing to do this, it makes me think of being like at the end of your life and the way you remember all the large moments.
I agree with that. That's very interesting. I like the way you're framing that, because I didn't think of it that way, but I agree with that. Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, in a way, it was sort of, like I say, it's about this sort of tragic romance over the years. And what I liked about it also is, at first, she was really annoying me. I was like, oh, what's wrong with you? And then it would, like, cut a few years later, and then he was really annoying me. I was like, what's wrong with you? And it was just, I mean, it's kind of like life, like they're sort of a hot mess. And it was sort of, which made it a little more interesting because they didn't do the things you always wanted them to do, and it didn't always work out the way you wanted it to work out. And I sort of felt like I had been on a life's journey by the end of it. And much like Roma, when it ended, I wasn't entirely sure how I felt about it, but it was one that stuck with me for days, and I really am glad that I checked out. So, you know what else was kind of interesting about it? I mentioned this in our year-end wrap-up, but I was noticing more movies are shooting in an aspect ratio that gives more top and bottom, which I think might be a result of some of the IMAX, stuff that Nolan and people are doing.
Yeah.
Which we say is kind of neat, or we've said is neat, because it almost draws you more into the world because you get a little more headspace, so you can see what's above people and you can see the curb below them. And I brought that up with Vox Lux. And Cold War is shot in Academy ratio, so like a square, like an old television.
Yeah.
And it lent itself to inventive photography to make it cinematic, but not using the sort of usual rectangle aspect ratio we're used to. And I found myself like just enamored with the visuals in this movie and its choices.
I mean, it draws you in by virtue of its novelty.
Yeah. So I liked Cold War. I would recommend it. What about you? I
agree with you. I definitely appreciated it more than I liked it, I would say.
I totally get that. Yeah.
But I would absolutely recommend it. I think it's very different, and it's one of those movies that's best to just sort of take in. Like, don't read a lot about it.
Yeah.
Just watch it and see where it takes you.
Yeah. I agree.
That said, I've been watching this HBO documentary, which everyone's been talking about.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should at least mention this is Leaving Neverland, which I was not interested in watching.
Same. Yeah. So I'm curious, how it got in front of you, and
it reached a point of critical mass where not only on social media, but even like students in my classes were talking about it, and I was like, well, I should at least at least have an educated opinion on it. And so obviously, if you're hearing this, you probably already know about it, but it's the documentary that tracks two alleged victims of sexual assault over many years by Michael Jackson in the late 80s into the early 90s, and sort of them telling their story. And so it sparked this renewed conversation about Michael Jackson, being a child molester, and a conversation that had always been there, right? And it was weird how when he died, suddenly everyone just stopped talking about it.
Yeah, and for people who aren't old enough to remember this, I mean, it was such a big event, earth-shattering event in the early 90s. Do you remember this? He actually interrupted television to talk about the event. Very well. Yeah, like it wasn't even on like during the day. Like I remember being home from school and it being on, in my memory, it was on all channels, and it was him just talking about his experience. And it's like, who can you imagine that ever happening?
It's like in Man of Steel when like the aliens start.
It was like that. Yes.
I'm here to tell you. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was him vehemently decrying the allegations of sexual abuse. I think it was by one person at the time.
Yes.
And but the thing of it is that he did that, and everyone was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of went on with our life.
Yep.
Sorry, that was a very pregnant pause.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Good. I'm just listening.
It's just I don't know. I've been talking about this with my students where I'm like, it's hard to talk about Michael Jackson in a modern context if you didn't live through his fame, where he had such a high degree of fame that he was forgiven all his eccentricities.
He was godlike.
Yes. So like here's my point.
Scarily so.
Scarily, exactly. Imagine a celebrity today. Let's say, a prominent musician. I don't want to name somebody. This prominent musician's like, hey, I want to spend time with kids. It's like, okay, I want to take them to amusement parks. Okay, I want to give them like a toy store shopping spree. Okay, I want to have them sleep in my bed. Hold on. I want them to just. I want their parents to just drop their kids off and have them sleep with me in my bed.
Yeah. And how about your son lives with me for an entire year? How about that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you got that far yet, but
I have. And so the idea, first of all, imagine that today. Like your publicist would be like, okay, no. No. Mm-hmm. And don't ever say that again.
Yeah, and it's in watching this. I mean, what I've seen a lot of people say about this thing is that it's really instructive about how people groom other people, and it's amazing the way that he not only lured in these kids into his universe. I mean, whatever he did, we may never know. Like you said, we have to say allegedly, but like he totally seduced the parents as well.
Yes.
Like he seduced families, and to what end is what we have to sit and make up our minds for ourselves. But it's haunting. And then you see him, showing up at all these events and deboarding airplanes and getting out of limos, and he always has a little boy with him.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, not a snowball's chance in hell. And you're like, how did the world let that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. And it's, speaking as a Michael Jackson fan,
yeah,
it's been a weird week. I mean, like he's a guy, I love Michael Jackson. And I still do. Like, I mean, I'm saying like as recent as like this year, when I work from home sometimes, like I put on a Michael Jackson album. And this has been a really crazy thing to be confronted with and have to contend with. And it completely has occupied my mind this week in ways that it's just gross and sad and awful, and it's a lot to take in, to be honest.
Yeah, it's I was obviously in my media class, we were talking about this, and talking about how radio stations are dropping Michael Jackson from their playlists and stuff, and that question became like, do you separate the art from the artist, and is it fair and whatever, and I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know, I don't have an answer to that. I do feel like people make distinctions in their mind where it's like, well, it's terrible what he did, but I gotta hear Thriller, we build up these walls in our head, but it gets harder and harder the more stuff we find out,
Totally
certainly
agree.
There's plenty of stuff out there trying to debunk the testimony of these two, well, they're now they're adults, but they were kids at the time, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, maybe that's a factor, but to me, bottom line, they seem credible, and they are echoing each other in a way that feels it doesn't feel made up,
Yeah.
And it does feel weird to me that so many people are like trying to jump on the grenade to defend Michael Jackson. That feels very odd to me. Like, why are you so opposed to the possibility that this is true? Because it sure feels more true than not.
Yes, I agree with that. Sadly, especially afterwards there was a special that Oprah did, and the two men were on there with the filmmaker, and like I can't remember their names, but one of them, you're like, that guy he's broken, and like it's going to take a very long time for that guy to heal. It's really tragic to watch. But speaking to what you're saying, I think, a lot of it has to do, think back all the way to like the 50s. And it's like Elvis Presley, like, the king of rock and roll. And a lot of people are like, well, yeah, but he's doing all the black artist songs. You know what I mean? And it took so long for black people to have an American artist that, changed the world, and the world recognized it, and then we, Bill Cosby goes down, and then Michael Jackson is being taken down, and that's the perspective that I'm seeing a lot, and that sucks. It sucks. People let you down.
Sure. Well, bottom line, folks, don't look up to celebrities. Don't
I mean,
I mean, it sounds glib, and I don't mean it that way, but you don't know these people, so don't put them on a pedestal.
Yeah, and that's mentioned a lot in the movie. Is they're like, looking at a celebrity, it's like staring into the sun. Like you let them do anything, get away with anything, and you look at now we're getting into the other things a bit, but they're like, well, Michael Jackson was acquitted in the 90s.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, and he's very, very, very rich. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So was OJ.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's again, so we're never gonna have like it written on a card in an envelope for us, but sometimes you just have to take the evidence presented with you that you don't like, and go, regardless, these kids, to what degree we don't know, but like these kids were abused.
Yeah, right. And again, there's an air of truthfulness in the way they're speaking that I don't believe is coached or is being, performed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's, it's funny. We're talking about putting celebrities on a pedestal, and I always tell this story. I remember back in like 2000, I was interviewing for a job at American Eagle Outfitters in Stratford Square Mall, actually. and they were like, name somebody who you admire, and I was like, Mel Gibson is somebody who I
Yeah.
and I just waxed eloquently about Mel Gibson for about 10 minutes, and he's such a good dad, and he's so faithful to his wife. He's certainly not anti-Semitic, I'll tell you what. He would never wish for his partner to be raped. I said all of those things, and so I always think about that, and I'm like, you just don't know.
Yeah, it's well, and us being the Simpsons fans we are, I mean, it just came out the other day that the Simpsons show decided to pull that episode, the classic episode from 1993. I think it's called Stark Raving Dad.
Stark Raving, which I literally just watched last week, completely unconnected
Really?
to any of this. Yeah, I was watching it with my kids.
Oh yeah,
and it's very funny. That episode is very fresh, and it
where Michael Jackson does a voice is what we should
Michael
say,
Jackson
people
did the
who don't
voice, though he's credited as John J. Smith,
right?
Because he was too big to do a show like The Simpsons.
Yeah,
and it is very weird watching that show now because his one of the conditions of doing the episode is I want to help Bart write a song, and I'm like, man,
Right.
He was even into cartoon kids. Like it's just weird,
I mean, and that's the thing too, where people are trying to excuse his, curious behavior was that he was abused as a kid, physically abused.
Sure.
And so it's like he sort of got stuck in this psychosis of being a child permanently. Right. So it's like he always liked childlike things, and honestly, I believe he probably did. Like I think he was a damaged human being, and that doesn't excuse any behavior. But there was just so much going on there, and yeah, so there was always like childlike accoutrement like in his orbit,
Yeah.
which I think probably cushioned him a little bit in some ways.
Yeah. And it's a great episode. I mean, Lisa, it's your birthday.
Oh, it's a classic.
It really is. So it's very like it's sad that show is sort of caught in the got hit with shrapnel, in this whole thing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I mean, something that I'm so close to, and seeing it, oh wow, like tied to something like this and how it affects that. I don't know. Yeah, it's very weird.
I mean, what James L. Brooks has said is that they've removed it. They're removing it from the syndication package. It won't be on future pressings of the DVDs.
Wow.
I mean, they're going all in. I mean, who knows if they actually stick to that? But I mean, I would say, certainly for you and I mean, we own the season DVD sets from like forever ago. So.
Yeah, and that said, though, I still am. I haven't been confronted with it yet, but I'm like, how am I gonna feel when I hear "Beat It"? Like,
yeah,
"Beat It's" one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs, and like if I go into some restaurant and I hear that, I'm like, it's like it's all soured now, and I realize in some ways it sounds like, well, how am I gonna feel? But at the same time, I mean, it's.
What about Brian's ability to enjoy Michael Jackson's back catalog?
Well, I mean, it's funny because that sounds so selfish when you put like just one name to it, but it truly is like, how's the world gonna move on from this? Like the world does have a relationship with Michael Jackson. So it's something.
I mean, well, you mentioned Bill Cosby, and I do feel like the world has moved on from Bill Cosby.
Yes.
There isn't this desire to cling to, like, oh, but the Cosby Show's still great or whatever. It feels like the world has moved on, and if I were to guess, I would say the world will eventually move on from this, notwithstanding, the Jackson estate and, obviously people with more of a vested interest in sort of preserving his reputation. I think that his reputation was already in trouble before he died, and this conversation has been sort of, on the back burner because out of respect, I suppose.
Well, I'm curious. How do your students feel about this? Because they just couldn't have the same relationship to him that we would.
I mean, but even still, even 10 years after his death, even with kids who weren't really aware of him at his prime, he's still an icon.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it is a conversation that they are aware of and that they have some degree of emotional investment in, which I think itself says something about the impact that he made in his life,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm like halfway through the first part, and it's like I'm struggling to get through it,
Yeah, I was gonna also throw out there, proceed with caution. I don't even know that I would choose to watch it again, to be honest. I mean, I know the world is an awful place, but
yeah, I mean,
you hear some stuff in this thing, and I'm like,
when one of the victims describes being, 12, 13, whatever, and being taught to masturbate.
Yeah, and that's like just the beginning. I mean, it gets a lot worse.
And to be honest, you have to look at the moms who are interviewed.
Yeah, I actually called or I texted my mom after watching it, and I said, "Thank God that you guys were such great parents. It would never do something so insanely stupid. I was always in good hands with you guys, and this made me want to tell them that."
Yeah, it's funny because I remember when my two oldest kids, when they were younger, we had taken them to like a photo session, and somebody was like, "Oh, you should put them in modeling and see if they can." They were cute kids. Now they're hideous, but they had a window there where they were really cute. And I was like, I talked to my wife about it. I was like, I'm absolutely not doing that. There's no way.
Yeah.
And what did it come down to? I'm like, I love my kids, and I would never willingly toss them into this lifestyle, which I'm very aware of.
Right.
And I know what it does to kids. Like, if you love your kids, you don't put them in this type of situation. You don't want them in the spotlight,
Sure.
And this started with sort of that. Ultimately, these kids,
yeah,
in a very innocuous way. But the further along it went, I mean, I don't know. You look at the moms, and you're like, "Mom, seriously, come on,"
Yeah.
And they own up to that during the course of the conversation. So I certainly don't want to pile on, but it is like, they own a stake in the damage that they inflicted on these kids. I mean, that was inflicted on these kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I don't know that I'm recommending Leaving Neverland, but it is a thing on HBO that it will spark conversations. Let's put it that way.
Yep, I would agree with that.
All right. Why don't we take a little break and then we'll talk some headlines.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, we are back, and we have some headlines, Brian.
Yes, we do.
Just to start off with some sad news, it's been sort of a lot of people have left us in the past week.
I know, it's been really sad. A lot of people grew up with, and we mentioned this a lot, but it's like we're entering that period of our lives where the people, when we were kids that we sort of looked up to and were involved in all the things that we enjoyed, we're starting to lose them, and it's a sad thing to contend with. Yeah,
I mean, well, just obviously starting things off, the biggest shock, I think it's fair to say, was Luke Perry.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we knew him from Beverly Hills 90210 growing up.
Yeah, it's it again. You know, we were talking about the degree of fandom that Michael Jackson had. I was trying to explain to my students about Luke Perry,
Yes. Oh yeah.
and I was like, because if they know him today, they know him as Archie's dad on Riverdale.
Oh wow. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and you know, he was in that post Teen Heartthrob thing where they play the dad on the next Teen Heartthrob show.
Sure.
It's like how John Schneider was the dad on Smallville, and you know, John Wesley Shipp was the dad on Dawson or whatever. And I was trying to explain to him. I was like, you have to realize, like in 1991, 92, you could not escape Luke Perry.
Yep.
His face was on magazines. Like, it was, everyone knew who he was. Even if you didn't watch 90210, you knew Luke Perry, you knew Dylan McKay. And I was like, I can't think of a comparable example today in terms of being so ubiquitous. And part of that is because the TV landscape has fractured.
Yes. Yeah, it was a definite monoculture. Like, if something was big, everyone knew what that big thing was.
That's right. You know, and so I was like, it's a huge deal for people of a certain age.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but above and beyond that, I mean, the one thing that you heard about Luke Perry when he was alive is the same thing you're hearing about him now. Just a super nice guy. Had no airs about himself. Just a good guy.
Yeah, I have a friend who is a filmmaker, and she made a film with him in it.
Oh wow.
And she had kept in touch with him ever since. And anytime she and I would talk, she always had like a new Luke Perry story. And it wasn't even like a Luke Perry story. It was just, oh yeah, you know, spoke with Luke last week, went to his place, hung out with his dogs. Like, it was always just what a cool, nice guy he was. And so then, you know, after his passing, it feels like all you see are articles now of people sharing stories about what a nice, great guy he was. So I mean, it's just backed up by everyone who was in his universe.
Yeah.
So it's
Such a shame, you know, and
lost a good one.
He right. I mean, it's, you know, very similar to like when Paul Walker passed away. You know, you just heard all the stories of, you know, all the times he had secretly like helped somebody out, or you know, yeah, like like being good, not publicly.
Yeah.
You know, and very similar stuff with Luke Perry. I know a lot of people are going back and watching 90210 to sort of relive those days. One suggestion I want to make for people is check out a show he starred in, which is now on Hulu. This is like early part of the 2000s, called Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a sci-fi post-apocalyptic show, and it starred Luke Perry in the lead role, Jeremiah, and Malcolm Jamal Warner, actually.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
And it was like it was created by John J. Michael Straczynski, who, you know, he created Babylon 5, and it's like life, you know, 30 years after a plague has like wiped out all adults. Like, everyone over 30 died. And so it's, or, you know, over 20 or whatever. And so it's like only the kids were left, and now those kids are adults trying to, like, it's like a world that, you know, they don't know how to run it, you know?
That's really interesting. I had not seen it, but that sounds like a really interesting premise.
It was, and that was the first time I saw him in something where I was like, man, this guy, I like watching Luke Perry, you know?
Right.
So that's on Hulu, and I hope, you know, again, I know people are sort of looking to be like, oh, I want to pay tribute to Luke Perry by watching something. And 90210 is obviously the big one, but check out Jeremiah, folks.
Yeah.
Another person who passed away, and this one is maybe, I don't know. I mean, did you watch Airwolf as a kid?
You know, no. I kind of missed that. I'm familiar with it, though.
I mean, the series Airwolf arrived at a time when the 80s was a magic era where we just really wanted superpowered vehicles.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Right? So you had Knight Rider, you had like Super Train, you had Street Hawk, you had Airwolf, the super helicopter, and Airwolf starred Jan Michael Vincent.
Right.
Who was like a former teen heartthrob, and then he came of age. Arguably, he's best known for Airwolf. He'd been in a bunch of other stuff. He was in a movie called Damnation Alley, like in the 70s. And this guy, he passed away at 74. He lived a hard life, and he just had ungodly amounts of shit that he had to deal with. Like he suffered with alcoholism. He had like a car accident. He like lost the ability to speak. His like leg was amputated. I mean, it's amazing he made it to 74.
Wow. Yeah.
And I mean, like, we haven't heard of him, or from him, I should say, or of him, I guess, for what, 15, 20 years maybe? Right? And yet, like, to me, I'm like, he's just this icon of the 80s. He piloted Airwolf.
Yeah.
He was Stringfellow Hawk. Stringfellow. It's a weird name.
That was his name, Stringfellow?
That's the name. That's a kind of a weird name for a character.
So they would call him Hawk then, I guess.
No, they'd call him String.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, Hawk is like the cool name. Stringfellow. Anyway.
Yo, String.
Yeah,
Don't mean to string you along. That's what the bad guys would say when he's tied up.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show. I'm surprised you never saw it. It also starred Ernest Borgnine.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wait, and then I'm picturing like his love interest being like, I guess I've got the world on a string.
that's good. I don't want to
should
go
go back in
back
time.
through all the episodes to see if that line was ever used, but it seems like that would have been something. But yeah, so 73 years old, Jan Michael Vincent. But as like I said, I'm amazed he made it to 73.
Yeah. Wow.
Because this was a person who dealt with some shit in his life.
Well,
So
rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. Jan Michael Vincent. And then lastly, and this is, I feel like this is very specific to maybe like you and me. I mean, there are more people, but I mean, this is Marshall Brodeen, who you and I knew as Wizzo.
Yes. This was growing up in Chicago. And apparently this was syndicated too on WGN for a lot of people. But the Bozo Show was a staple of waking up as a kid in the Chicagoland area.
Didn't you just love that show?
Yeah, you had Bozo and you had Cookie and you had Wizzo.
That's right.
And I mean, yeah, they're as much a part of my childhood as like Bugs Bunny or any of the other cartoons I watched. So
Wasn't he like doody 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 doo? Right? Wasn't that?
yeah, he would do like little tricks, right? Little magic
He was
tricks.
like a parody. It was like a really offensive stereotype of Arabian people. So I should be deeply hateful of Wizzo.
You know what's funny is the fact that I literally did not even get that till right now.
Because he's from the sands of Arabia.
Oh, see, I actually haven't watched the shtick since I was a kid. I just remember what he looked like.
See,
Yeah.
I should be deeply offended by it, but damn it, it's Bozo and Wizzo, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sad. It's sad to see these people leave us.
yeah. He was 84.
Wow.
84, and he played Wizzo for 26 years on that show.
Holy cow. Can you imagine playing that character for 26 years of your life?
Well, it's very funny because the Bozo for when we grew up was a guy named Joey Doria.
Right.
And if you heard this guy talk outside, he sounded like Krusty the Clown.
Yes, and Krusty is based on
Bozo.
one of the Bozos,
The concept of Bozo, right?
The concept of Bozo, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was totally that. It was because it was funny because certainly later in the run you had Joey Doria as Bozo, and then after Cookie, I realize we're like so inside baseball right now.
Yeah. About like 5% of our audience is like, go on.
So you had Cookie was his original sidekick, and then
Yes.
he retired. He had like a heart attack, and I think he died.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he was replaced by a guy named Rusty.
See, I don't remember those years so well.
And so Rusty was this lanky, like tall, lanky guy who was very distinguished, and so it was very funny because it's like, it was like Krusty and Sideshow Bob.
Oh, that's funny.
You know,
Yeah, you can look up old footage of on-air Bozo, so pre the Bozo that we're familiar with, but Bozo and his clown sidekick, and they are being mean to each other.
yes,
Like they are sniping at each other. It's like this black and white footage, and you're like, oh, that's where they got it.
yeah, right.
They're like Krusty and Binky or whatever on Garfield, like that kind of crazy
Yeah.
clown. Yeah.
Remember the grand prize game?
Oh my gosh, I would still love to play that game. Right?
What's funny is okay. So for those of you folks who are listening, you don't know. Again, X number of people are like, yes, I remember. The grand prize game was these buckets that are lined up in front of you, And what was it, like 9 buckets, 10 buckets?
I think it was 6.
6 buckets. And so, you stand in front of them and you got 6 buckets that stretch maybe like up to like 4 feet in front of you. And so you throw the bucket, you throw the ball. It's like a little ping pong ball in the first one. You get a little prize. You throw a ball in the second one. And then with each one, it gets a little harder because it's a little further away.
Magic set. Yeah, a bike. $100 bill.
It kept like incrementally getting more impressive. And there was always like the at-home player.
Yeah, so I forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah,
and
from the Bozo Pewter.
That's right. You'd punch it in the Bozo Pewter. No, the Bozo Pewter was how they chose who.
Oh, that was the audience. Yes,
right.
That's
and then
how
they had
chose
the drum. They would go through the drum, and if you sent in a postcard, you would be like the person who was playing would pick your card out, and you would be their at-home player. So the person at home wins everything that you win if you're playing.
Right.
And it's funny because I was thinking about this. I'm like, how would you like to be the kid who misses the first bucket?
Yes.
Which happened.
Yes.
And then I was like, how would you like to be that kid's at-home player?
Right. Like, what are you doing,
yes! Yes!
Yeah.
No!
You know what's funny, by the way, as you were describing that, I realized that just listening to you describe the game was like receiving a hug for me. And at the same time, to other people, it probably sounded like, so I used to wear an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. Like it's like a total, like, what the hell is he talking about?
It's true. It's such a specific remembrance.
Yeah.
Remember Professor Andy and then the parade at the end?
Yeah. Yeah, I always wanted to go to that show, but I mean, it was like legendary. I mean, I've heard stories. It took like years and years and years for you to be able to get tickets to that show. Like you get on a list and it would be like 5-8 years later you would actually get the tickets. So I'd heard stories. I don't know if these are playground stories, but people like have babies and then they reach out to the Bozo show so they can take their kid when they're old enough.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it's a shame because the show it was on every day, and then eventually it got only once a week. It was like the
sure.
Bozo Super Sunday show, and then it just went away. And then like all things, it happens.
And much like Krusty, I mean that's where I saw a lot of my cartoons growing up. I mean they'd show Warner Brothers cartoons and Woody Woodpecker and all that.
Yeah, and then after a while they would show like Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, but it was weird because they would show like a 10-minute snippet.
Yeah.
It was weird. Anywho, so
thanks, guys. Thanks for indulging us there.
Yeah, sorry. So Marshall Brodeen, he will be missed. Thank you, Wizzo, for all the memories. May I just say, Wizzo, doody 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 doo.
Doody doody doo.
As we send you off to the great beyond.
Yep.
Speaking of things that feel outdated and don't really matter anymore, let's talk about the Oscars.
Right.
The equivalent of a galactic year has passed since the Oscars, so I really like. This
It could be a week for all I know, but it feels like it was last year already.
It really does, right? I've got isn't this the one where didn't Warren Beatty read the wrong thing? Like it's all this,
right.
It's been a while, but again, out of necessity, I feel like we should mention what happened.
Yep.
Which is, the one thing I said going in, I was like, I don't know much about what's going to happen. I'm not going to make any predictions, but the one thing I'll predict is there's no way that Green Book wins Best Picture. As surely as Mel Gibson isn't an anti-Semite, I'll tell you what. That was my firm conviction going into the night. And wouldn't you know? Funny thing.
Yep.
And people got pissed off about that, and I was irked, but then the irkedness started to irk me also.
I am entirely with you. Yes, I had the exact same experience.
It's because I was actually thinking back to when we talked about Green Book, and I think where we ended up was we were like, it's fine, like it's a good message, there's nothing wrong with it.
I don't think it's ill-intentioned at all.
Exactly. And we were both like, I mean, it's not necessarily the best movie of the year, but it is what it is. And then and so it's very funny to see all the like, oh, it's like a white supremacist this, and it's like
right.
a white savior that, and it's like all the stuff, like a lot of agenda stuff is getting shoveled on top of it. And I'm like, ultimately, I'm like, look, how many Best Picture winners do we even remember?
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? I was trying to, because I went into school Monday morning, and I had some kids who were real pissed off about it. And I'm like, listen, guys, look at as long as you've been alive, look at, name the Best Picture winners for every year you've been alive.
Right.
You can't. Because the majority are forgettable and are forgotten.
Right.
So big picture, the point is I'm like, who cares?
Right.
People are like, oh, Black Klansman should have won. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? In 20 years, people are still going to be watching Black Klansman.
Yeah. That's. I mean, look at Do the Right Thing.
Yeah, right.
I've never seen Driving Miss Daisy.
That's exactly right. You know? So I guess that's all I have to say about the Oscars. Everybody just settle down.
I'm kind of on board with you. Actually, I sign off on what you're saying. That's kind of, my feelings were almost exactly the same.
So there we go. Everything else, sure, it's fine. I'm glad Cuarón won. I think he deserved it.
And Spider-Man, that was great.
Spider-Man, I have to admit, that made me very happy. And I'll tell you something, because it just came out on digital 2 weeks ago. My 5-year-old has been watching it every single day. He watches it and recites the dialogue along with it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I've been wanting to revisit it. So
it's entirely worth it. And I'm just glad that that's a movie that I have to imagine my kids aren't the only ones who it's going to have a real impact on. It's going to be one of those movies.
Yeah.
That they carry forward,
Yep.
All right. Well, and this is tangentially connected to the Oscars. Steven Spielberg, Brian, is on the warpath. Don't mess with the beard.
It's gonna be.
You get the horns or something. I don't know.
You started making me think of lyrics, and I realized there were lyrics I can't say on air. It was an NWA song. Go ahead.
So Steven Spielberg is not happy about Netflix being an awards contender.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, he feels a little old man yelling at cloud.
Yes, I saw someone actually Photoshop that image, and I was like, yeah. Like, you kind of want to, he's like your grandpa. I'm like, hey, grandpa. Like, I kind of pull him in and like, yeah, no, tell me over here.
Yeah, I mean, I love Steven Spielberg. I don't need to tell you that. We both. It's one of the pillars of our friendship. I'd like to think is our mutual affinity for Steven Spielberg. So I'll always be in his corner. Except in this instance, I'm like, maybe don't make this your hill to die on.
Exactly that. Like, if it's a feeling he has and something he wants to share, and people don't have to share his opinion, that's one thing. But yeah, it does feel like this is now like a cause.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, and the cause being, I think he feels, movies that debut on television should win Emmys, and movies that debut in theaters win Oscars. And, there's a lot of things going on in this conversation. I mean, there's a little part of me that understands what he's saying. There's also another part of me that feels like I would love to believe he's a genuinely thoughtful, good guy. So I think there might be a little naive elitism in it, where it's like, well, no, I make movies, and this is how movies are taken in and recognized, and there are TV people, and that's what they do. And
so his contention is, look, Netflix is doing great stuff, but that's TV. It's not movies.
Yes.
Which, yeah.
And in his mild defense, it reminded me actually of maybe 20-some years ago, when I was really into like rock music or grunge music or whatever, and I would think, oh, if there's a band and they don't have a real drummer, it's just a computer, well, that's not real music. And I've since come a long way from that and realized that that's not true. So it reminds me of the changing tides a bit for someone, and then hopefully they can be adept enough to take a step back.
So Brian, here's something that, and I wish I could credit them. Here's what somebody said on Twitter, which I've been thinking about. They're like, Spielberg has always been a dinosaur when it comes to recognizing the industry moving forward. And the example he gave, and I'm hard pressed to disagree with this, is Steven Spielberg spent the entire 80s not letting E.T. be released on home video.
Right.
And when you think about it in hindsight, we joked like on our commentary how like E.T. you have to it's very specific, the fandom for that film.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't transcend its moment, and how much of that can be traced to him not letting it come to home video so that kids could take it in the way they took in Goonies and Monster Squad and like all those films.
Yep.
Right? I mean, 82 to when did it come out? Like 89?
88 or 89. Yeah.
So 6-7 years when it could have been out there. But
yep.
but
playing at
because
sleepovers and
yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I think that's right. Like I think that Spielberg has a very like, oh, I want it to be like it used to be in the old days.
Yes.
Way. And that's not always a great thing,
Yeah, and hearing a bit more of the details of what I believe he was supposed to meet with the Academy and propose a few things. Mm-hmm. And I got to actually admit, when I read them, I didn't disagree. He was saying, I mean, for any movie to qualify for the award, it has to have, X amount of weeks in a theatrical run. And so I'm like, well, yeah, no, that actually makes sense. I mean, it should abide by the same, I think it should abide by the same rules that the other, if it's a competition and there are rules, then all the movies should abide by the same rules. I don't know what those rules are, but the broad stroke of that sounds right to me, but I don't know exactly the nitty gritty of what he's getting into.
Yeah.
But apparently just yesterday, I think, Jeffrey Katzenberg came out and said that he talked to Steven and asked him specifically about this thing. And Spielberg said, about what quote specifically, I don't know, but he said, I absolutely did not say that. And Katzenberg saying, he said nothing, which could be true, or it could just be a bud putting his, trying to stick up for another bud.
Ugh. It has been disheartening to see Twitter just like going after Spielberg.
Yeah.
And really in stupid ways, like accusing him of, entrenched racism and all this stupid crap. Like,
right.
Woke Twitter is just the worst.
Right.
And I'm like, no, he's Steven effing Spielberg.
Yeah.
He can be wrong, but he's still Steven effing Spielberg.
Yeah.
You know? Speaking of Spielberg, let's talk about his friend's former franchise.
Yes.
That's a mouthful.
There it is. The music.
There it is. So not a lot of Star Wars news this week, Brian.
No. Yeah, we are still without a title. Apparently, the first footage has been shown at some sort of, what was that? Like not exhibitor.
I actually hadn't even heard this.
Oh, I don't even know what it was. Some sort of like Disney executive sort of thing where they show them the upcoming year. So the first footage is screened, and someone actually did report what was shown, and it was about as abstract as you could imagine. But what we were going to talk about in lieu of the non-news from the past week was that Topher Grace recently spent a weekend, apparently, cutting together a trailer that encapsulated the 8 movies that we have so far into one long mini narrative. And you and I were talking about this past week. I sent it to a few of my other friends, and what I said after watching it was, it's unfortunate that Star Wars has become a thing that some people like have some sort of like maybe even wince at now because of the conversations that inevitably follow now about, oh, I hate this movie. All right, well then I hate you, and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, ugh. But watching this distillation of these stories that perfectly encapsulates the saga and the sweeping emotions and the drama and the fun and the everything, the adventure about it, I was like, all these people can just disappear. Like, I love this thing.
Yeah.
Like, this thing totally reminded me why I will always love this story. It's beautiful.
It's extraordinary, and you're not the only one who had that reaction. I mean, the way this thing rocketed around the internet, like a lot of people had that same moment of like, yeah, this is what I love,
Yeah. Yeah, it did a really good job of, it takes you through the story from episode 1, but it does a lot of, it hops around and shows you some of the echoing that happens between the prequels and the original trilogy, and some things that are set up in Empire Strikes Back, then they cut to an image of Rey. We're like, ooh, okay. Like
right.
it's very well done.
Very well done, yeah. There was, I don't know if you saw this, Mark Hamill gave another interview. I don't even
Speaking
need to...
of like grandpas, are like, hey, grandpa, maybe don't go to that microphone.
Uncle Mark, so he's promoting this Nightfall, this series that he's on.
Okay.
And so of course he's gonna talk about Star Wars. So he has some thoughts, Brian.
Okay.
He has some thoughts about Luke's role in the sequel trilogy. And again, he has done a good job of trying to keep his nose clean, but he's stepped in it again, I think. Here we go. He says this is Mark Hamill talking about what the decisions that were made in the sequel trilogy. He says, I just thought Luke's never going to see his best friend again, referring to Han Solo's death. You look at it in a self-centered way. I said that was a big mistake, that these three people would never reunite in any way. I guess I was wrong because nobody seems to care. I have to stipulate that I care, but it didn't really seem to affect the larger audience. Luke, Han, and Leia will never be together again, and I'll probably never get to work with Harrison again. Then the second thing was that they killed me off. I thought, oh, okay, you should push my death off to the last one. That's what I was hoping when I came back. No cameos and a run of the trilogy contract. So all three movies. Did I get any of those things? Because as far as I'm concerned, the end of 7 is really the beginning of 8. I got one movie. They totally hornswoggled me.
I can hear that in his sort of like, kind of tone that he does. But that's kind of funny.
And just so it doesn't sound like he's totally grumpy grandpa, he says, listen, I never expected to come back. We had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Right.
That's what I said. Why mess with it? It's not something that worries me because it's all about the new generation as it should be.
Yeah.
So...
I think he likes to grandstand a lot, and he's being sort of winky a little bit.
Actually, Brian, you got to hear this. I'm just reading this quote for the first time. He's look at this. They had me walking by 3PO. He's talking about the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Yes. I was going to bring this up. Yeah.
They had me walking by 3PO, not even acknowledging him. I said, I can't do that. He, meaning Ryan Johnson, said, okay, go over and do whatever. So I went over and I did whatever. They say it in the script, forget the past, kill it if you have to. And they're doing a pretty good job.
I'll admit, I'm actually with him on the 3PO thing, and I remember he winks at him.
Yes.
Because I remember in the theater that really tickling me because they have a huge, long-standing relationship.
Yeah, how do you not? Yeah,
I think he was right about that.
It's just funny to me that go do whatever, and so I did whatever. I wore an onion on my belt. I love Mark Hamill. I love how he has no F's to give.
Oh yeah, and the whole fact that the original trio will never be together on screen again. You've mentioned that. I feel like you mentioned that on Twitter, and he liked it.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
He had tweeted something, I quoted, and I was like, this is the biggest missed opportunity in these films. And he didn't say anything, but he liked it. So obviously that's a bee in his bonnet.
He could have had your tweet in his head while he was talking about that. That might have
I'm the reason he said all this.
Yeah, it might have been the spark that lit the fire.
But regardless, we are still excited for Episode 9.
Oh yeah.
And like you, it is Star Wars. I will never not be excited for a new Star Wars.
And here's something I never thought I'd say. I'm like almost re-excited for Episode 9. Thanks, Topher Grace.
You're not kidding. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I almost wish they would have dropped the title that weekend just to really get you super jazzed.
Yeah.
You know? But why don't we take a little break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the latest MCU movie. And we're back, and Marvel is back in the theaters. Captain Marvel is I just checked the box office. As of Saturday morning, it's looking at $160 million opening weekend. So You know what that means. The anti-feminist haters on Twitter got their scalp. No, they didn't. This movie has been subjected to such a volley of bullshit for months.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole Rotten Tomatoes. This is one of the first movies, though, where I've sort of consciously stayed away from all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't avoid it, but anytime I'd see some article about a bunch of dorks
There's no other word for it.
trying to dork it up, I'm like, okay. Like, I just...
Here's the thing. Brie Larson gave an interview where she's like, and I'm paraphrasing, but essentially she was like, I want more diversity in my press days so that it's not just a bunch of white people. Let's get people of color. Let's get women in there. And her having the gall to say that was enough to just send, a bunch of man babies ranting and raving into the night.
Right.
And, it's been it's been, on one hand, it's funny and pathetic. Right. On the other hand, it's worrisome and dangerous.
Yeah.
People get so exercised over stuff like this. And like James Woods was out there tweeting, like, go see Alita instead of Captain Marvel.
James Woods?
James Woods. I don't know if you knew. He's like a right-wing lunatic. I don't know if you knew that.
I did know that. I've met James Woods, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I was having lunch with Christopher Guest and and his editor, and we were on the Fox lot on the lawn, and James Woods walked by just to say hi. He's like, hi, James Woods.
That's a pretty good impression.
Yeah, speaking of good Simpsons cameos, by the way.
Yeah, that was a great one, yeah.
But, I mean, what does he care?
Yeah, exactly. And it's hilarious to me because I'm like, Alita is, like, do you know what Alita is about? I think you would be even more opposed to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even, it's not
stupid stuff. Anyway, so the movie's out. It's a massive hit. It's another massive Marvel hit.
Yes.
What do you think about it, Brian?
Oh, man.
You know my thoughts because
I know your thoughts.
You read my review.
I cheated.
You cheated.
Zachy actually texted me and said, don't read my review. And I was like, oh, no.
As you're like on your phone, you have the browser open with my review. You're like, let me close that.
Yeah. I had to know. And I'll start it by saying this. Even with the Marvel faithful, this has been a little bit of a divisive movie.
Yes.
And I think I'm kind of like reverse Aquaman on this one. I kind of liked it.
Nice.
But that said, I think with Aquaman, for some reason, and I've been meaning to revisit it because I did go into that a bit under pressure and like trying to do it for the review and going quick. And some of the glaring issues with that movie shone brighter than the fun that was being had.
And Brian, can I just tell you something? This is very funny to me because my screening of Captain Marvel was last Monday, and I had pre-ordered Aquaman on Vudu. So like, your pre-order gets processed the night before. So like, it's available Tuesday, but I can access it on Monday. So I watched Captain Marvel. I come home and I'm like, hey, Aquaman is here, and I sit down and I start watching Aquaman. And my first thought is, man, I wish I liked Captain Marvel as much as I liked Aquaman.
That's so funny.
Yeah, very funny to me.
Well, and as I was watching it, and we'll get into all this stuff because there's a lot to talk about.
Yes,
but it has its problems, and they're frustrating when you take a step back and think about them. And I was realizing them as I was watching it, but at the same time, I was having a really good time. And then when it was over, I was like, I can totally say everything that should have been different about this movie, but like, that was fun, right? And then I looked over at all the other people I saw it with, and a couple of them really didn't like it. I was like, oh, okay. And then I started, started hearing other people talk about it. And it's funny because everything that they take issue with, I'm like, no, you're right. Like, you're right. It would have been a better movie had they done this or if they had fixed this or whatever. But I enjoyed my time with it. And now, a couple days later, thinking of those things, it's frustrating because this movie could have been great.
This is the thing, right? Because, I'm a massive Marvel fan. I'm probably a bigger MCU fan than you are.
Oh, easily, yes.
Right? And second, I hate these assholes on the internet.
Yes.
So I wanted nothing more than for this one to just knock it out of the park. And to me, it's not like I did not hate it. I think it's sort of, I'm watching it again in an hour, like literally an hour from the time we are that I'm saying these words. I'm going to be in the theater watching it again, and I'm going with my niece who is 16, and I know she's going to love it.
Yeah.
I know it's going to play for her in the exact way it's meant to. So in a big sense, my words don't mean anything. Like my opinion, big picture, is not the important one when it comes to this movie.
Yeah.
That being said, I think that, to me, out of all the like number ones in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this was the weakest to me. And I think it says something about the bar of the MCU that even then, it still has stuff that's worth recommending it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, and I noted this in my review, I the biggest thing, what works against it is also what's helping it, is that it's so woven into sort of MCU canon that it doesn't really stand on its own.
Yes.
But it doesn't need to stand on its own.
Right.
So it's, it's like entirely how you choose to view it. I didn't hate it. I keep having to say this. But to me, I wish Captain Marvel, this is the first female solo superhero. You got to let her stand on her own. You can't have it so woven into the canon that you take all that stuff away. Does it work? I don't think it does.
Yeah, and it's funny what you're saying. I'm realizing I'm the mirror opposite of it, where I'm saying that I liked it, but I can't not acknowledge the things that don't work. You're like, I can't not acknowledge the fun that I had, and I'm like, I think before we get into spoilers, the thing that unfortunately doesn't work is exactly what you're saying. Is I don't think they took the time to set up this character.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You're just supposed to be like, she just is, and like, let's go. And they do a lot of shorthand.
Yes. For
who she is and what she wants, but it's not enough. And when I left, I was thinking of Ant-Man, because it's a character I knew nothing about and I was being introduced to. And if you asked me to explain Paul Rudd's character, I'd be like, oh well, yeah, he's this guy and he's divorced, but he loves his kid, and he a world of crime, but he's trying to get away from it. But like I know that guy, and I can, and Star-Lord, like he has a past, it's like he's in space and he's kind of cool, but like a hero in his own mind. But he's got this really tragic story that informs him. Where he's got this tape because it comes from his mother who, died in the past, and he doesn't know his father. Like all of that you love about those characters, we do not get in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's that is its hugest flaw, because I think if we were to get one scene, this is my if I had to choose one note to lobby at this movie, I'd say if we could just get one scene, not a montage, but a scene of her at some point in her life on Earth, so we can understand who she is and what she wants and what's in her way. Yeah. I think the whole problems with everything with this movie would be substantially fixed.
Yeah, what you're saying is exactly right, and the analogy I've made, what I've said, first of all, we're presented with a character who, at the start of the film, she has spotty memory, she has amnesia, she doesn't really know who she is, and then she goes on this journey of discovery. Okay, I say, look at the first RoboCop, the original RoboCop, right? Same kind of setup, right? And granted, we don't know who Alex Murphy is really, like, before he's killed, right? Mm-hmm. But we spend time with him.
Right.
We get a couple scenes. So that's helpful. But more than that, to me, one of the most important scenes in that whole film is when RoboCop is going through his empty house.
Yes.
Yep. And he's getting snippets of, right? And that's all we need.
Yes.
To see how he felt about his family. And this is my problem with Captain Marvel, is that we don't see we don't see who Carol Danvers was before, so we don't have a sense of what she's lost. And we don't really have a sense of who she is when she gets it back. So we're like, there's the moment at the, okay, do we want to talk spoilers?
Yeah, let's do it. So I mean, I guess for people, because I'm hearing more and more that some people start the show and then end at the spoilers,
Okay.
and then leave it and come back to it. So yeah, I mean, I think people kind of know where we stand on it. I think it's fun but flawed. Is
But you know what's funny is I'm right there with you. Fun but flawed.
yeah.
I think we're talking about the same stuff. We're just plugging in different. We're attacking it from different ways, but I think we're ending up at the same place.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say, non-spoiler. Look, it's an MCU movie. You already know if you're going to watch it.
Yeah.
And it as a setup for the one that you for sure are going to watch, Avengers Endgame, it absolutely does what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you the backstory to make whatever's going to happen there matter.
Yeah, and you get to see like 1990s Samuel L. Jackson again. It's amazing.
That's amazing. And let's talk about that on
Yeah.
the flip side of the spoiler wall. Okay, so the movie ends near the end, and you know Brie Larson, who by the way is a phenomenal actor, who I feel like the directors here, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, did not know what to do with her.
Yes, I feel like there are two problems. I think she is lacking an arc.
Yes.
And it's in there if you squint, but I don't think it is punctuated well, and I blame the directors for that and the writing. But also, I feel like, sadly, like, yeah, Brie Larson feels a little bit out of her comfort zone, and she's a little wooden
Yes.
throughout the whole thing, and this is someone who's supposed to be sort of cocky and confident, and it's kind of one note the whole way through, and it just doesn't play I think they meant it to.
I feel like if, again, making that RoboCop comparison, if she is more, not robotic, but aloof and distant as the movie starts,
yes,
and then she becomes herself as she rediscovers humanity, then there's something to point to. There's a progression, right?
yes.
And this is my problem, is we end at this place where she's like, my name isn't Veers, I'm Carol Danvers, or whatever she said. I'm like, what does that mean? It's not,
Yes.
because there's two
Like
moments.
Murphy at the end of RoboCop.
Exactly, right? That I was thinking of that. I was also thinking of my name is Neo. Right? But those are triumphant moments where our character embraces who they truly are.
Right.
So we have Carol Danvers on this journey where she has the power of the Kree, but the heart of a human. And it comes together in this moment where she's like, I'm not going to be your weapon anymore. I'm going to protect the universe, whatever. Fine, that's all good. But to me, I'm like, what got us here, right?
Right.
And there's a scene in the film where she meets her her former, her best friend / flying partner, or whatever, and her daughter. The daughter, this is very clever. The daughter is Monica Rambeau, who in the comic books, in the Marvel comics, the second Captain Marvel was Monica Rambeau. So that little girl grows up to be a superhero herself in the comics.
Nice.
The daughter's like, here's a picture. Here's you and your dad. Your dad didn't like you. Here's you with this. This is when you fell down the thing. And I'm like, are we doing this?
Yes.
I mean, that's just info dump. That's not,
Yeah, and you get the it's in the trailer, the montage of her always being like falling down and
Yes.
getting picked back up. I gotta admit, the first time they showed that in the movie, I started feeling it. I was like, ooh, like, not misty eyed, but I was feeling like all the feels.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, yeah. Like, I want this girl to, triumph. But that's like all they ever give you. And I'm like,
That's it.
Yeah. And it's like, ooh, like I was hoping then, like you said in RoboCop, like I want that scene of the past where it's all crystallized.
Yeah. Like you're seeing snippets, and then we get the scene where it all comes together.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot because it's like, you don't belong here. You're not supposed to be doing this. Like her dad's an asshole, and then they call this a cockpit for a reason or whatever. Like all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? Just to be clear, that's all great stuff.
It is.
Include.
It was
Like,
very effective.
yes, but that's exactly what you're saying. Who is Carol Danvers separate from that? Like, what we know about her is she's a fighter pilot who dealt with discrimination because of her gender.
Right.
That's it.
Yes.
You know, and the movie makes a big deal of sort of seeding this connection that she has with Annette Bening,
Right.
who is,
right.
you know, she's a Kree, a warrior in disguise. She's Mar-Vell, which is very clever because in the comics, Mar-Vell is a man and he's the original Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was actually really cool that they made Mar-Vell a woman because it doesn't make like the Brie Larson Captain Marvel beholden to a man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that was smart. But let's see that relationship.
Yes. Sure. Yeah.
They have,
why
like,
did she
2
take her
scenes
under
together.
her wing? She
Yes.
finally found her mentor. Yeah.
Yes, you know, so it's like weird. It's like it really feels like a lot of stuff got chopped out in the editing process, or they just like forgot to put it back in.
Yeah. Well, going back to her friend, I wanted to not forget Rambeau.
Yeah.
She has a moment where they're reunited, and Brie Larson, or Captain Marvel, doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
And she fills in a lot of gaps, like, we were best friends and you left and didn't let me know, and it's really, you know, upset me. And I was realizing, even as I was watching it, I'm like, ooh, the whole heart of the movie is on this actress's shoulders right here.
Yeah.
Like, I have to believe that they were best friends and she's upset. And I thought she did it really well, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
And it did a lot of the heavy lifting that the script unfortunately didn't do. Unfortunately, that character gets a little bit sidelined.
Short shrift. Yeah.
Yeah, as it goes on. But yeah, I was like, whoa, they put a lot of weight on that actress.
Yeah. No, and she did a good job. And
Yeah.
I want to give credit. Jude Law, I thought was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I
was realizing that too. Watching him, I was like, oh, that guy's just dependable.
Right, exactly. And I think, you know, the story does a nice job of distracting you from the fact that he's the villain.
Yeah, I had my, you know, little spidey senses go off at the beginning, but
Yeah.
then I kind of forgot about them.
And I think that's a good example of just using Jude Law
Yeah.
judiciously. Huh? I'm very proud of that. In a smart way. I think Ben Mendelsohn is like Ben Mendelsohn, and he's awesome.
Yeah, they use him in a clever way too, because he's typically the villain.
Yes, and well, the question I had was because he plays himself.
Yes.
I mean, he plays a guy who looks like Ben Mendelsohn, and he's like pretending to be because he's a Skrull, and then the Skrull him is also Ben Mendelsohn. So I'm like, wait, so like that's where I got tripped up because I'm like,
Yeah.
so does the alien Ben Mendelsohn guy look like? Because he's like pretending to be a real person.
Right.
But it's very funny because when he's a Skrull, he's like Jason Statham. That's what he sounded like.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I just
Yeah,
found that very funny. He's, again, dependable. Sam Jackson is having the most fun I've ever seen him have as Nick Fury.
Oh, it was so much fun, and I love his this is his origin story.
Yes.
You know how well Shield already exists, but how the Avenger Initiative gets started, and his sort of finding that aliens are real, and I really enjoyed that.
Losing his eye.
And I could not believe I saw this in 3D, which I think puts like a little bit of a shield between me and the screen. But the technology to de-age him was
gosh.
in my eyes, from what I saw, was flawless.
Yeah, I mean, after a while, you just stop looking for the seams.
Yeah.
You just forget about it.
Yeah. I can't believe, and he's like a main character in this film. I mean, can you imagine how much work went into that?
Yeah.
Him running around, doing all those things. It was unbelievable what they pulled off with that.
Yes. I also I appreciated the Stan Lee cameo.
Yes, that was so funny. The Mallrats.
Yeah, he's like getting ready to film Mallrats. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And of course the Stan Lee tribute at the beginning was great.
Yes.
It's weird. I gave this one a C plus, and some people are like, "Man, you're too harsh." Some people are like, "You're too easy on it." And I'm like, I don't know. It feels like a C plus movie. Like it's like, you know, it's fine.
See, that's what's so weird about movies like this, where you're like, this is why I'm glad I'm not a film critic, and I don't have to put anything sort of definitive out in the air. I can just sort of like I can like go, you know, through the valleys and the whatever as I'm having this conversation, and I get to walk away. But ultimately, I know the feeling I had when I walked out, and I had a lot of fun. But I also know, and this is the thing too, and I think a lot of people don't think about this when they're watching movies, like general audiences, and sometimes they even say to critics, you're not supposed to think about the movie it could have been. You're supposed to just sort of look at what's there. But I'm like, yeah, but you know what it could have been?
Right.
You know, like you can't help but have that feeling. But I also can't deny, more than I think the other people I saw it with, I did walk out with a smile on my face having
Here,
a good time.
Brian, one thought I'll add is to me an issue I had was her power set is not defined.
Yeah, and I think I might be conditioned to that with these new superhero movies where I'm like, well, yeah, they're like invincible and they can do whatever they need in the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is true, but to me, it's like clearly you're setting her up as she's the Deus Ex Machina character,
right.
who's going to save the day in Avengers Endgame. But I'm like, what is it? What can you do? Like what are your abilities? Give me. I'm not saying I need like a screen of bullet points.
No, I you're right. You are right. Because we need to know what is in her arsenal that the others do not wield.
Yeah.
That yeah.
Because to me it's like it's so like the she gets her powers because of that reactor explodes and infuses her with the energy, and that's of course from the Tesseract,
right?
Which I think the way they tied that in, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But to me, it's like, okay, but now that so it infused you with this, but what did it infuse you with?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Like give it a name, even if it's
something, right? Yeah. To me, that's
glob. Make it up.
Yeah, something because at the end it's like she, the Kree are about to attack Earth, and then she shows up, and they just like look at her and they're like, all right, let's get lost.
Right.
So clearly she's powers on a godlike level. Okay, but what is like what something we can wrap our brain around.
Yeah, sure. I agree.
I mean, I think just in terms of sort of movie math, that's important.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What it comes down to for me is, generally speaking, what I've found with these Marvel films is that the big action sequences are the stuff I'm least interested in.
Yes.
And and because it's all just CGI nonsense. It's always the character interactions that really draw me in.
Yes.
So that's where this movie tripped me up, is I found the character not particularly interesting, and then there was a bunch of pyrotechnics that I'm just reflexively not as interested in.
Sort of along those lines. I think why I can even say what I liked about it, or why I might have fallen for it. I mean, let's like get right to the heart of it. This is very much a movie where like fantasy enters the real world. Mm-hmm. And I'm just realizing like I am just like a crazy zombie to this, apparently. Like I just am drawn to this aesthetic. So I think that was kind of fun. It was dropped into the 90s, which of course I have like a huge nostalgic attachment to. So it was fun being back in that place and seeing this crazy Marvel zaniness that I know thrust into that grounded world. There was also a moment when she goes to the farm where her friend is.
Yes. And
I realized it reminded me of the beat in Terminator 2 when they go to Mexico.
Oh, sure.
Where the movie slows down a little bit and we get a little bit at the heart of, the characters and what's going on and stuff. So I realized it was sort of hitting beats that I particularly respond to. But I do realize I had to squint a bit to fill in the gaps the movie wasn't doing for me.
Yes. Yeah. And this is the thing, Brian. I mean, we're 21 movies into this universe.
Yeah.
So, people will be filling in them gaps.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And so look, overall, I think as part of the universe, I recommend it. On the one hand, I'm like, it doesn't really stand apart on its own. On the other hand, it doesn't need to. So, whatever. And then also, ultimately, I know this movie is going to mean something very different to a lot of little girls and a lot of little boys.
Yep.
And you know what? For that, I applaud it. There we go. There's my review.
Yeah. I think that's I can't even. There's nothing to add to that. I agree.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave this conversation. What do you think?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Avengers Endgame is going to be here before we know it.
Oh, I know. I can't believe it. Oh, wait, can I pick your brain on this a little bit? Just
Yes.
Again, is sort of kids of the 80s/90s. I'm seeing some people complain about the 90s stuff, saying it was on the nose in the film.
I didn't think so at all.
I was just going to ask you. I was going to be like, well, it was in the 90s.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I've never understood that complaint, because it's like, well, they're playing, and they dropped this like 90s song. I'm like, yes, because it was in the 90s.
that's when it's
Like, what did you want to happen? Like, I think on the nose to me would be like someone being like, here, have a Crystal Pepsi. This is never going away.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that would be on the nose. But I'm okay. So I'm kind of happy to hear you say that.
Yeah, no. I agree with that. It to me, it was just part of the. It fit in. I mean, it felt appropriate to the milieu.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, I agree. So okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, the most like '90s part is right at the top when she crashes into that blockbuster.
Which is so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Totally
know.
fine. So
Yeah,
I don't know. People need to shut up. Hey, shut up.
What is that from? Hey, shut up.
I think that's a Family Guy.
Okay.
It sounds like something Stewie would say,
Yeah.
doesn't it? I'll have to look. If you're listening and you know what that's from, we just mainline this stuff to the point where we don't even know. We're just pulling out references. We've become human Family Guy,
Right.
basically. Anywho, okay, well, we'll be back in a couple weeks with our next regular episode, and we'll also be back very shortly. I just referenced The Matrix. We'll be back soon with our commentary track for The Matrix,
Wow. Yes.
which I'm very excited about.
Yeah. I'm having so many thoughts. One, excitement. Two, realizing that that's a movie that was only like a year or two away from the what's the word I'm looking for? The movie takes place in the past.
The period?
Period piece. Yeah, the period piece we just watched. That,
Yeah.
like, I can't believe that.
4 years after, yeah.
Yeah, that period. piece we
Yeah,
just
seriously, that's weird. That is weird. But that's going to be a fun one. I'm excited.
watched. Oh man, I can't wait. I caught like a good 30 minutes of it on TV the other day, and I was like, man, I still love this movie.
Yeah, well, and I have plenty of thoughts because, as you know, I am a big booster of the sequels, which puts me in a very select fraternity. So
That's gonna be a fun conversation.
yeah, so folks, you can look for that later this month, as like I said, as well as our regular show. But as we wrap things up, Brian, anything you want to promote while we got you?
Yeah, well, I'm still plugging away over at Puppy Dog Pals, and I'm having a blast. I really love these characters. It's working on these two goofy little puppy dogs solving mysteries all over the world and getting things done.
Getting things
So,
done.
If that sounds fun to you, I say check it out. It's on Disney Junior, and it airs pretty much if you blink.
Yeah, it airs
It's
all the
probably
time.
on.
It is on persistently, so that's a good thing if you're looking for it. As for me, you can find me at my website, ZakisCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter. That's also my Instagram. You can also check out the latest episode of the Nostalgia Theater Show, which will be dropping very shortly, featuring my interview with Javier Grillo Marzwatch, who is one of the producers of Lost, and he also produced a little show that I love called Boomtown. He's currently one of the people involved with the Dark Crystal series that's coming up on Netflix, and he's also in charge of the Cowboy Bebop live-action series that's going to be on Netflix. So we shared a great conversation about Lost and about a whole lot of other stuff that I think folks will enjoy listening to.
Very cool.
Also, as I ask each and every episode, please go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. Let us know what you think of the show. Also, you can email us, moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com, and go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. Please like the page and send your comments there. On behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, my name is Zach Yazan. This has been Movie Film 167, talking up Captain Marvel. We'll be back soon, and we hope you'll join us. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zachy